Today we're going to focus on BEDMAS, which is also known as PEDMAS, which is also known as PEMDAS, and I think there's some other ones as well. But basically they all mean the same thing, and it's the order of operations. For BEDMAS, this means that you want to do brackets, then exponents, then division, then multiplication, and then adding and subtracting. Now, PEDMAS is exactly the same thing, except we're replacing the B with a P, and P stands for parentheses, which is the same thing as brackets. And PEMDAS is exactly the same as PEDMAS. It's just they've switched the M and the D. I personally prefer having the D earlier because there are situations where division is better to do before multiplication. Adding and subtracting, the order doesn't matter. So they all end with AS, which is fine. As it is for all math topics, it's a lot easier to understand things by doing them rather than just hearing about them. So let's do a couple questions. Now, when you're looking at this question, you might think, okay, well, there's some brackets over there, also known as parentheses. I guess we need to do that first. And yes, that's true, but you can also do other things at the same time. One thing to note is that this fraction symbol actually means division. So in this term right here, we have exponents and division, and exponents take priority. So we're going to do 3 squared, which is 9, and then leave it divided by 2. Now, in this situation, we can't add the 5 yet because there's a multiplication operation to the right of it, which means it has to do the multiplication first. But it can't multiply by the 6 because there's parentheses. So we're just going to write down plus 5 times, and then we're going to put a bracket, 6 minus 3, which is 3. Once you simplify the bracket goes away, and we can rewrite it as 5 times 3. Now again, multiplication has priority over addition, so we're going to do 5 times 3, which is 15. In this case, there's a couple ways we can do it, depending on your teacher. You could either do it using decimals or fractions. I'll do it both ways, just in case you want to see both. With decimals, 9 divided by 2 is the same thing as 4.5. And then we just do 4.5 plus 15, which is 19.5. If we do it with fractions, we need to get a common denominator. In this case, the common denominator is 2. So we're going to multiply the top by 2, and we're going to multiply the bottom by 2. You can think of this as 15 over 1, and we multiply the top and bottom by 2. And then once you have a common denominator, you can add the numerators, so we get 39 over 2, which is the same thing as 19.5 if you do 39 divided by 2 in your calculator. If you're struggling with fractions, you can check out the video on your screen now. Okay, question number 2. So we have a bracket here, so we can deal with that first. 36 plus 4 is 40. And here we have subtraction and division. We have to prioritize division. When you have division of 2 fractions, you want to flip the second fraction and change it to multiplication. Then you can cross reduce. Now 40 squared is the same thing as 40 times 40. And if you saw one of my earlier videos, what you can do here is you can cross out the zeros, do 4 times 4, which is 16, and then add the zeros back. So we get 1600, and we're left with 6 over 5 for the fraction. Now we need to get a common denominator. So what we can do is 16 times 5. 5 times 6 is 30. 5 times 1 is 5, so we get 80. And then we can add back the zeros, and we get 7,994 over 5. Now, if you wanted to check your answer using your calculator, you can do bracket 36 plus 4, close bracket, to the power of 2, or click the squared button, then minus, then do bracket 5 divided by 2, close bracket, divided by 25, divided by 12, close bracket, and then press equals, and you would get 1,598.8. Then using the calculator trick I mentioned to reduce fractions, you can click Shift and then DC, and you should get 79945, which means the same thing as what we got here. That's it for this video. For homework, try the 2 questions on the screen now. If you found any of these topics challenging, I would recommend checking out the full playlist on fundamentals on the screen now.